I was on the Wi-Fi. I switched over to 5G. Appreciate that. Hopefully it doesn't go up that high. I got the free games on here and the super free games collection. A couple days ago, it was only like 120 for both of them. I thought that was a little low. But I didn't even know we had this. I don't know if it's new or what, but this is the second time I played it. I'm not a fan of how slow those reels spin now. It's like in slow motion compared to some of the other machines. Hey, what's up, Clive? Yeah, definitely. It can hold you up here for a while. But the good thing about that, like today, there's not a whole bunch of plays. So at least it gives me something to do. Gives me a little content. I couldn't pass up that 35 though. It was either 34 or 35 when I sat down. That was just, in my opinion, it looked too good to pass up. But you never know with some of these machines. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot of plays today. But like I was saying earlier, there's some other APers here. Did you guys have fun on your cruise? I know you said you want some money, so that's good. These free games don't seem to pay much on here. Seems like that's pretty typical with Buffalo, though. That was $81 right there. That's not bad at all. Definitely needed it. Do I need a refresh, or does it look good? Hey again, Debbie. Hey, I'm going to try to switch over to Wi-Fi. Let me know if the quality gets worse or not. Does it look better or worse on the Wi-Fi? Got the super free games. That's a pleasant surprise. You would think the Wi-Fi would be better than the 5G, but the quality. It'd be nice if it could automatically refresh for you instead of having to do it manually. Oh, I was wrong. We got the free games, not the super free games. My bad. That's pretty cool how you get to play 4 games on here only for $2. Because I mean, if you did that on any other machines, most of them with $1 minimum, you'd be playing like $4. Got the 40 free games. What do you mean, Slot Shark? Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's like 50 cents basically per spin on each game. Yeah, that makes sense. This is not looking good. Hey, Elena. I don't know what I just hit. I got something good though. Yeah, that was not too bad. I was kind of getting scared there at the beginning. Wasn't giving me anything. Any of you guys know this game? Cashman Bingo. Nothing. I don't like these machines that make you put your keto in to check the bet sell. I like the ones where you just hit the buttons and move on. Slot Shark, I think that bingo we have is the older version. I think they got a couple newer ones out, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't even know we had it until a couple days ago. Elena, which game is tough? Bingo? Yeah, Bob was playing the one with the sun and moon on it. I think last week on one of his streams. I think him and John were. Check for double supers real quick. You guys like the carpet? Slot Shark, I wonder if that's on purpose with your last spin being the best one. So what I normally do with my phone is I've got a t-shirt with a pocket on it, and I'll put it in the pocket, and that way I got my hands free. But Slot Shark, you know what I've noticed on what game is it? Regal Riches. On that one, they seems like they save the best ones until, you know, the last couple spins. But yeah, I think they designed some of those slot machines to do that on purpose. Or it could just be the RNG, who knows? Yeah, I like when it saves all those multipliers, or the wilds up, yeah, for the very end. Probably gonna lose on this one, but we'll see. Nothing. Yeah, we only got Regal Riches here. We don't have the new Regal Link. I was checking the bets. I was doing this last night, and I swear I'm not making this up. This girl comes up to me. It's probably on the stream too. You can probably hear her in the background. She's like, "Oh, I like the way you use your fingers on that machine." And she kept coming up and talking to me, and she introduced herself and everything. And she was talking about her husband and stuff. I was like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Like, why are you going up to random dudes, introducing yourself, making comments like that when you got a husband? But yeah, don't get involved in any of that. A buddy of mine, he used to work at Target in loss prevention, and one of the girls that worked over there at Target, she was cheating on her husband, and the guy found out, and he came in there, and I don't think I can say the word on here without getting shadow banned, but he unalived the guy and then did that to himself too. Down on this one?
48 cents all yours.
I was talking to security a while back. They said they watched for that. It's called silver mining. I was like, what is it? He said it's called silver mining. People go around and they'll put their tickets in the machine and they'll just keep on collecting what's left over in the machine.
48 cents?
They said they'll ban people for that though.
That's great.
And I'm like, sometimes I don't even look down there. I just stick my ticket in and start playing.
Fucking 48 cents out, you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, the security guy, he was saying they ban people for that. Yeah. But you gotta think, what if somebody sits here all day, you know, for 4, 5, 6 hours and doing that? I mean, doing that every day, you know, for weeks. Yeah. Yeah, they got about 1,000 in here. They need a few more. Looks like you cleaned this one out.
Pretty good over here.
$1.50. That 750's been here, I think since yesterday. I think it was last night. I'm pretty sure it was the same one because there's a 750 over there. That was those bigger ones. Those bigger ones sit here for a couple days, like $6 and higher. I mean, they'll sit here for 2 or 3 days sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You can get 86 for that silver mining. I didn't even know about that term until that security guard told me about it. There's a guy that came up to me one day. He said he had a handful of poker chips, and he was trying to get me to cash them in. But I told him no, and I let the people at the cashier know about it, and they said that guy was banned. That's why he wasn't able to cash them in. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. It's like I don't always look, you know, when I just stick my ticket in, like I'm trying to play. How much was it? Yeah, somebody's probably looking for that 300. I saw a lady, she was playing Dragon Link. This is probably like six to 8 months ago. And she had about 800 in the machine doing $15, $20 spins. And I was like, dang, that's kind of high. Like, normally you don't see, at least at my casino, you don't see that. And 4 security guards came up and they're like, we need to talk to you. I turned around, I thought they were talking to me. I was like, I didn't do anything. And they pointed at that lady and they're like, we caught you on camera taking that other lady's ticket. And they said that she wanted to press charges on her, and security locked that machine up and they took her away. And I never saw her after that. I don't know what happened. But I know if it's over a certain amount, like 6, 7, or 800, depending on what state you're in, it's a felony if you steal a certain amount of money. But then they got to prove intent, you know, because like if you stick your ticket in there, and, I mean, that's kind of hard to prove that somebody did it on purpose, you know. Whereas if they found the ticket laying around and picked it up, that's a little different. Good thing you guys got your ticket back. I kind of wonder if I've ever did that and left my ticket in the machine and forgot about it. Because sometimes I'll have like 5, 10 tickets. They pretty much let people do whatever they want here. I never see security doing anything to anybody. That's pretty cool. They mailed your ticket to you. I'd be going back to that casino probably for the rest of my life. I feel like some of these casinos, they just keep the money and say, oh, you know, it's just lost money. I don't know if they turn it over to the state or they keep it or they split it with the state or how that works out.
It's alive!
I forgot I was on the 2-cent denom. I do that all the time, and then you see that the bonus is bigger than what you actually thought. It's a nice little surprise.
Didn't like it?
It gave me $12, gave me 1 Frankie head. So I was telling my buddy though, I'm like, usually you'll come up and sometimes those boards will be full. Like I had one go up to 43 on me before because I was adding them all up. That's the highest I've ever seen it. And I think it gave me 1 or 2 of those Frankenstein heads. So that's why sometimes when I play it, like if I get a good bonus, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and walk away. Because then the next one, it's like, you know, it's 1 or 2 heads. But I have seen it before where it's good, you know, back to back. So never really know. Good luck. That guy was trying to give me his 40 cents in the machine. I didn't take it though. I never take any money. Oh, sorry. Normally I don't take these, but I'll do it for the content, I guess. Famous last words. Doing it for the content. I really don't like taking these 7s though. Really 8 or higher on the blue wilds is what I like. That's just me personally though. sweet if we got the mega. I love when that happens though. Last week I think I hit the mega and like the major and minor. Like I hit a bunch of them back to back. Something else, another guy was telling me, I think it was one of the guys that do AP here, or maybe it was somebody I was watching on live. They said don't put your card in if you know you're only going to do a couple spins, because they look at your average bet size, and then so if you're only doing $2 or $3, you know that's going to bring your average bet size down. So then whenever they do the comps and free play and all that, I think you'll be getting less. That's the way I understand it. But I don't think anybody really knows these algorithms. But it'd be nice if we'd get like a disgruntled employee or something from the casino and then get them to kind of spill the beans and tell us more about it. How much was that hand pay? I don't think I've played that one or not. Is that a newer one? $1,500, nice. I got about 1,000 on Frankenstein. I think that was last night. I was doing $9 bets. I was in tilt. But yeah, that helped me out a little bit. What cruise ship did you guys go on again? I think you told me already. I forgot though. Oh, hey John, what ships have the best AP games? Because that'd probably be something that you want to look at whenever you're trying to decide. I feel like a lot of the travel agencies, though, probably wouldn't be able to answer something like that. Yeah, I might do that princess one then. I heard the carnival ships are the party ones. I'm not much of a partier nowadays. Even when I was younger, I didn't party much either. I'm in Butte, Montana at the Burning Beaver. Love that Burning Beaver. Yeah, I get that. I've got some family members that are Mormon. Elena, are you home yet or on the plane still? All right, I'll see you later, John. Thanks for tuning in. Probably gonna end the stream. Can't find any place.
Up to 200.
No, that's not mine. I think the last guy left it there. Typical Buffalo free games, $3. Hey, Stephanie. I'd like a child right about now. Hello.
Good luck.
Thank you. 60-cent board. 2, 4, 6, 8. Stephanie, the only thing I don't like about that, look how those 2s are up there at the top. So most of the time you won't get those red ones or the flaming ones. So I don't really look at those as much as I do the blue ones. But even see how they're all the way at the top on the blue, and then you only got one down here at the bottom. I like them to be like down here and like the bottom 4, like 60, 75, $1.50, $1.25. But I mean, you never really know with these machines. I don't really like that. I mean, it could be a winner though. 2, 4, 6, 8, 6 blue. I like this one. Look at the 180 though. See how they're at the bottom? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I might try that 60 though. I'm gonna see how this 180 goes. Yeah, those demo boards, see, I agree with you on that. A buddy of mine, he saw it. He started walking over to the machine. He's like, oh, look at this board. And I was like, no, that's a demo board. He thought it was an actual board, though. He didn't realize they have screensavers on them.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Ooh, miner. Oh, yeah. I was not expecting that. So what do you mean, Stephanie? You said 2x2 or 2x2x2. So are you saying like the 4s and the 6s? I feel like on 60 cents, I feel like I lose a lot of the time. I don't know if it's because I play a lot of those or what, but I'll lose like 40, 50, or 60 bucks on minimum bet. I kind of wonder if the minimum bet's weighted though to like make people lose, because like Bob said, he said most people, you know, they play the minimum They're not, bouncing around on the denominations and changing the bet sizes. Because I was looking at the Las Vegas, the numbers for all the casinos, and like if you look at the 1 cent denomination compared to all the other ones, I think 1 cent was where they brought in the most money on the slots. At least the numbers I was looking at for Las Vegas. I think that's how it was in my state too, though. But yeah, I might do that. There's a $3 one that looked pretty good. This is $1.50. It kind of looks like the 60-cent one. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I just don't like how they're spread out like that. But, I mean, like that last one, it gave me the minor, so you never know. Did Bob make it back from the grocery store? Here's a $3 one I was telling you about. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 with 10 blues. I just like how they're at the bottom because I feel like it gives you the ones at the bottom more than it does, like say 50, 25, 15. You know what I mean? But man, $3. What was I playing? That $5 one took 400 from me. So $3, I feel like that could get about 200 from me. Hey, Bunny. We're looking at a $3 board right now. 3, 6, 10, 11, 12. I don't know. I don't want to lose my profit because I'm up 300 right now. I'll check this one, see if there's anything good on it. All these minimum bets are always taken. There's a couple $7.50 plays. But I gotta reel it in. Gotta gamble conservatively today. I want to play bingo, but all the boards are reset on there. I don't really do much on the weekends. I try to do all my errands on the weekdays because I feel like everybody's out on the weekends. It's just too busy everywhere you go. That's why, honestly, though, I'd rather have days off during the week instead of the weekend. Hey, Heather. Too much traffic on the weekends, too. Traffic really gets on my nerves, especially like if I'm in a rush trying to get somewhere and I'm stuck behind people, driving slow in the left lane, which that's actually illegal. They made a law where I live a while back where you can get a ticket for that. Anybody do anything exciting over the weekend? Too low. I only play usually about if they're 18 or higher. 18. What do you play? You play 18 or 17? You winning? No. That was one of the Asian AP players here. They're pretty friendly. Yeah, it seems like everybody's getting sick here lately.
You want to check this one, you can.
Nah, appreciate it though. Anything on there? No. I usually look through there though. I'll see which one has the highest number and play it. I think a lot of people play these since they're newer, so
Yeah.
they usually get that bonus and get the money and run. I feel like a lot of people do. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to do, especially if you got a machine that keeps on paying. You know, you don't want to give up. Or if it's doing the opposite, then you want to sit there and get your money back.
Yeah. That's swirl, man.
Hey, good luck. Hey, Mary. Bonnie likes the outdoors. She's always hiking and camping and doing all that outdoorsy stuff. I don't really get outside much. I'm usually stuck inside doing something. We need some outdoor casinos, more like casinos with retractable roofs. Let's check bingo one more time just in case. Guess we'll go ahead and do an Asian play. That way the other 8 peers don't get it. Heather, how was the cruise? John said you guys won some money. $1,300, not too bad. $800 total for the whole trip. Some of these casinos will pay for your flight, like the Beau Rivage in Biloxi, Mississippi. I think they've got their own airline, and they'll fly people out there to gamble. It's a nice casino. Are those comps pretty good for the cruise ships? I didn't even know they gave you anything. That's a really good price, $800 for you. I mean, for everybody, that's really good. I think I'm going to the wrong casino because I haven't got anything like that. Of course, they send me free cruises, but I feel like I'll have to pay a bunch of stuff once I go on there. I talked to the Players Club here, and they try to act like it was all comped, but I'm sure there's some hidden fees and stuff. Yeah, 500, that's not bad. I think the most I've gotten one week is probably like 60 or 70. My casino likes to split it up though, that way they can keep me coming in here every week, regardless, but I wonder if those cruise ships, like if they're connected with any of the players cards. That's a good way to like keep your clientele though, keep them coming back. free games on Buffalo, $11. I got a fully comped. It was a 1 week stay at the Hard Rock in Biloxi, Mississippi. That was last year. I didn't have to pay resort fees or taxes or anything. They sent me, or they gave me $75 free play and then a $50 food comp. Just made it home. I'm not a big fan of flying. I think those airplanes are too crowded.
Pretty stingy.
Yeah, that's how they are sometimes. Seems like more often than not they're stingy.
More nice than they're not.
I think those wolves up front are a little better than these cats. I got the grand jackpot on here about a month ago.
That's good.
That's the only reason I keep coming back to this one. up, Andrew? What's up, Choctaw? I think I'm about done with cats. They've been doing me dirty here lately. Yeah, I played this one early. It was at 17 Choctaw. Nothing to play here on a Sunday night, though. But yeah, I'd say 22, 23. I'd say that's a good number to start at. Yeah, Choctaw, sometimes I'll do that where I add the mini and minor together. Yeah, I think Cats is going on the banned list. Yeah, I'd like that mega. Seems like any time on all these slot machines, when it takes a long time to get the bonus usually isn't any good. Hey, what's up, Chucky? Yeah, it's probably gonna be my last time playing it. I'm gonna have to go on tilt here in a second. Gotta make my money back now. Yeah, Dakota Cats is getting banned. About to give the ban hammer to Cats. This is what it was doing to me last night too. They weren't roaring at all. It was just like ice cold.
Get a bunch now.
I hope so. Yeah, there's about $300 down the drain. Well, I guess we gotta do these 750 Frankenstein spins now. Somebody must have played that 750. I don't see it on here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing 22 or 23, but I still would have lost money if I would have took that Cats at 22 or 23. I would have had to take that at like 27 to make money. All right, here's a 750. Not taking my ticket. I wouldn't play a 13-17 Buffalo Link. Too low for me.
need more power! More power! More power! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! I need more power! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Free housing, that sounds nice. I only got 5% battery left, so my battery's about to die. Alright guys, I only got 2% battery left. I'm gonna get off here and charge my battery. I might be back on in like half an hour or so. But I will talk to y'all later. Peace.